In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things that you need to know for the full moon in Libra, which is coming up this April 12th or 13th, depending on where you're at in the world. Now, one thing I know for sure is working with the planetary alignments, working with the lunar cycles have been a life changer for me. And there has been so much magic and so much synchronicity and also lessons that have turned into insights and deeper teachings within my own evolution that have helped me to up level, that have helped me to come into a higher state of being and consciousness and awareness in my own life. There is a saying in Kundalini Yoga, which is taken from the 5 Aquarian Sutras, and it is vibrate the cosmos, and the cosmos shall clear the path. This is something I've been utilizing for years now, and it is very much proof in how my life unfolds when I can look at what is happening in the stars and how it's impacting me on Earth. And that's with everyone, whether we're aware of it or not. You know, the stars are magnetically working with us, and we are on the electromagnetic field of the Earth, and everything is being impacted both by Mother Earth and by the stars. So when we have this greater awareness of how these planetary alignments are impacting us and what the themes are, we can really move into a more effortless state of living and into an aligned state of being. So, my name is Carolyn Yakopich. Welcome to my YouTube channel if it's your first time here. I'm really excited to get into this. Libra energy is such a powerful and potent experience within the self and also within relationships. So, the first thing that we'll talk about is that it's a full moon. So, full moons are a time of release. It's a time of letting go of the old, of shedding things that no longer serve us. If we look at the beginning of the lunar cycle starting at the new moon, the dark moon, it's when we plant our seeds of intention. It's when we start new projects. It's new beginnings. And when we come 2 weeks later into the full moon energy, it's a choice and a chance for us to look and see what is working, what is not working with those intentions, what is in alignment, what isn't in alignment with those intentions that we created at the new moon, and what do I need to release at this moment in time so that I can move forward into action, into aligned action, where my heart and soul is leading the way and logic is also there, yet I am fully embracing my authenticity and who I am in this moment. So we have this full moon energy supporting us. It is moving even deeper into action, and it is also letting go. Emotions may be heightened at this time because everything that is going on in our life is highlighted naturally during full moon. It's in its fullness, in its brightness, and it's highlighting internally. You know, the water is impacted within our body during the moon and lunar cycles. So in the full moon, how it affects the tides, it's affecting our internal system as well. So naturally the emotions start to rise. So if you feel excited, if you feel happy, that will be elevated. If you're in a low state, that may be pulled down a little further. So just having that awareness and using the tools that you have to recalibrate, to come into center. Sometimes even I've had the experience of being very excited a lot of the times during full moons. And I almost feel like the energy feels overwhelming, that it starts to kind of tip into a direction of feeling anxiety. And I just require that slow down, that recalibration. So either tuning into my breath, going into nature, doing a short meditation, just really having the awareness of what am I feeling right now and what do I need to come back into a more centered state, right? So that is one thing to be aware of. Now, when we look at the Libra energy, Libra represents harmony and balance. And it is the scales of justice. This is the representation, the theme that we're looking at. And truly, the teachings are to choose the heart over the head. And so I'm going to show you this card that we have that we're working with right now in the tarot. It's the adjustment card. This is the Libra card. Now you see this being here is standing within these scales, and then the sword that is piercing down into the earth. So when we look at this card, this being is now being weighed on either side, right? And the teaching in Egypt is we weigh our heart against a feather at the time of our death. And so the goddess Mot is represented by the feather. Feather is truth. Okay, so on one side, the feather would be placed, and then Anubis, the god of the underworld, the god of death, is going to take our heart, place it on the other side of the scale. And when our heart is as light as a feather, meaning we've cleared our karma, we've cleared our consciousness, we are pure light, we've worked through all the lessons in our lifetime, then we fully ascend. And so, yes, we come and reincarnate on the earth if there's more lessons, if there's more work that we want to do, and we have that choice to come back again and again to keep ascending and evolving our soul until we get into that point where we are fully in that state of light beingness. So, this is the teaching. It's the heart and the feather, right? So we could look at it as though if we're not in our hearts, if we're leading from our heads, and when I say heads, I don't mean logic, because we need our logic to operate in the 3D world. When we're in our heads and we're overly analyzing, overly criticizing, self-doubt, negative talk, worry, stress, anxiety, all the things, the energy naturally rises out of the body and into the head, which, yes, is still part of our body, but when we're not anchored down into our heart and into the earth, the energy moves upward. And then it's like, how can I describe it? It's almost like lightheadedness, like feeling like you're living up here, and it can turn into very manic energy. It can turn into a lot of different imbalances within the body. So it's really important to draw the energy down into the heart space. A very simple practice when we're too much in our head is to place one hand or both hands over our heart, close our eyes, and just start to slow the breath down. And if the breath seems to be mostly up into the upper chest and you're still feeling the anxiety and it's up in the head, you can place one hand on your heart, one hand on the belly. Really focus on drawing the attention down into the belly so that the breath expands as you inhale into the belly, and then it relaxes with the belly as you exhale. And just doing that a few times is going to help to slow everything down and recalibrate your nervous system. So we really want to get out of that fight or flight freeze state when we're in our heads and move deeper into our bodies so that we can be in the relax, rest, and digestion state of being and operate from that state of being, which truly is our divine presence. It is being fully in the present moment. So the next thing that I want to bring your attention to here is the sword. So the sword represents cutting through the illusion, right? And the illusion are the stories that we tell ourselves, the programs that have been imprinted within us, whether they're from past lifetimes or through childhood, even into our adulthood, right? So we're always being told different things. We see things. We're programmed watching TV. We're programmed going out in society and seeing different billboards and, passing by all the things in the world is pulling information into the mind, right? So we're constantly bombarded by information. We are in the information and age. We're on social media. We go on our phones and it's overstimulation, right? It's a big dopamine hit, and it's also a real big hit to the brain. So the more we can step away from that and really pierce through whatever it is that is not of the truth, to really come back into our own discernment, into our own hearts, to really be with ourselves internally, to know the way forward. And it takes practice, it takes repetition, it takes commitment to the self. So, this sword, as we pierce it into the earth, it's like standing our ground in truth, standing our ground to be here now. And, holding this right at the heart center, right? It's a very strong posture. Even if you were to do that at this moment in time, taking your hands, imagining holding a sword that is going to pierce through all the illusion, everything that is not of the truth, all the stories, all the programs, and just hold your ground and stand in your being. Even if you're sitting, you can feel this, taking this and just piercing it into the earth. And it's like it creates this downward focused energy to ground us and to feel open in our hearts, even with this movement, because the arms are an extension of our heart and it's a very solid posture. So, Libra is about moving in the heart space, moving from the heart space, clearing the karma, clearing our consciousness. It's about finding internal balance so that we will experience external balance. And nothing can truly be balanced. It is always a balancing act, right? So you may be into something a little bit at one time and really want to go somewhere else. And why am I not doing this right now? And then you bring your attention here. But it is like this balancing act. So it's finding what works for you, it's feeling into what is harmonious, finding your own rhythm and flow, your own ebb and flow in your life, and making sure that you're not disowning parts of yourself, right? And putting too much energy in one space. So this is another thing to look at, like looking at the connection of the body, the mind, and the soul. It's like, am I moving my body a little bit every day? Am I focusing on my thoughts and recognizing when I'm too much in one direction of thinking, right? When I'm not in the truth, when I'm telling myself stories. And also then tending to the soul through meditation, through breath work, through inspiration, through spirituality, through ritual, through ceremony, through honoring the earth and honoring the stars, whatever it is that works for you, through playing sacred sound and instruments, using your voice, dancing, being creative. All of these things can help us open to spirit and feel the energy, right? So when we look at Libra, it's like what is going to bring us into that harmonious state where we find unity in body, mind, and soul. And the other thing that we look at during this time is relationships. Libra is bringing our attention to our relationships. Which ones are falling away naturally? Which ones are starting fresh and new to support our journey? And one thing that is very key that I find happens at this time, the more that we get on our journey of soul's growth and evolution, and as we're ascending, as we're moving forward, and certain relationships are falling away, there's this grieving process of releasing that and releasing old parts of ourselves that related to that particular relationship, right? Who we were in that relationship. So we can mourn and feel that grief of losing that person, and also the grief of losing a part of ourselves which we identified with that was not necessarily fully in alignment with who we are. So moving even further into it, what happens is we will sometimes be faced with new relationships that come in that are kind of created in a package where there's some of the new and some of the old. And sometimes it is an invitation for us to really pause and see, is this in alignment for my highest and greatest good? Is this truly in alignment with where I am going and who I know I am in my heart and soul when I am connected to Source? Or is this part of my old story? Is this a repeating pattern? Is this showing me something that I yet again am looking at? Because as we know, it's not a straight journey, it's a spiral. So when we have a lesson, we see it from a certain vantage point at the beginning, and then we grow a little and we see it again. And then a new relationship shows up to show us that same lesson. And it's like we might catch it a little sooner. And then, and maybe not at the beginning, but eventually, as we keep growing, as we keep evolving, we start to see it and we almost can catch it immediately when we see certain patterns, programs, reflections of old versions of ourselves in front of us. We can see what that is in the other person and identify that we too had been there, right? And it's a choice whether it will be the most supportive for us to move forward in, or if it's time for us to step back and wait for a more aligned relationship to come in. And this does not necessarily mean a relationship that is romantic. It can be with friends, with family, it can be with just new people coming in. And it's like a very fresh relationship, and there's like this choice point that we have, right? So reminding you to as we wrap this up, to bring the awareness during this time, during this Libra energy, into your relationships, being aware of your relationship first internally with your body, mind, soul, and then your relationships in the external world, and see how they're playing out. See how they're either supporting you or not supporting you. And also to really be aware of your thoughts, your thought processes, and if they are supporting your highest destiny forward. And knowing that when we get into this state of overactive thinking, into the mind state, we bring ourselves back into this moment with the techniques that we have, with the stillness of the breath and of the body, placing our hands simply on our heart, breathing, and just allowing ourselves to come back to the awareness of the truth. So moving beyond the story and into our soul. And thank you so much for joining me here. It's a pleasure to be able to share everything that comes through, as I never really fully know what will come through when I do share these videos. So thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to my channel and remember to hit the like button. This helps to get it out to more people. And if you have any insights, any experiences of this, I would love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you on the next video.